La 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 Adam's little vlog.
Tally ho everybody, this is Aheapian, Adam speaking, and today I'm going to be bringing you a thumbnail creation tutorial. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because recently I've been seeing a lot of people asking how to do thumbnails. Not me specifically, there are a couple who've asked me, but in general I see people wondering how to create thumbnails that look good, they do their job, and will attract an audience. Because you get some thumbnails that you see that aren't very good, they don't stand out, they're too busy, they're not busy enough, and I'd like to help you. So this is Aheapian thumbnail creation tutorial. Let's crack on. Now the first few things you're going to need three things basically. You're going to need cooltext.com, which is this site here. It's simple, cooltext.com, and you need Google. Aside from that, you need paint.net. Not Paint, not Windows Paint, you need paint.net. There will be a link in the description below for where you can download this. It looks like this. So when you click on paint.net, the first thing that comes up is this screen here. As you can see, you've got your white box. What you want to do, if you want the proper thumbnail size, go to Image, Canvas Size, and then your width is 1280 and your height 720. Okay. And that's the size of your thumbnail. Now I'm going to make a thumbnail for an upcoming video, which will probably up before this video goes up. So this will be the thumbnail for my prop hunt episode with Steezus, Crumpet King and Yaus. So what I'm going to need for this is a background layer, which will be an image of something related to the video. Now the level we're on in Gmod is like an abandoned sort of house thing. So if we go and Google images, and we come across something like this, doesn't quite look like that in the game. We want to get something that looks relevant. Something a little more like this is more like it. It's like an old hallway. And what we want to do then, go on search tools. This isn't essential, but it saves you a lot of time. Go on size, larger than 1024 by 768. And then you know you've got an image that's at least the right size. This one will do. It doesn't have to be totally relevant, it can just be sort of relevant to your video. So if we wait for it to load now, because my internet is terrible, there we go. View image, copy the image, bring up paint.net, Control V, which will paste it, keep canvas size, always keep canvas size, and then adjust as you wish. So I'm going to have mine there with the sort of end of the hallway slightly to the side. I don't know why, I just like it that way. So we've got our background image now. Now there's usually another step that I'll do here, which I'm actually going to save for the end, just to sort of prove a point. What we need now is the bits to go on top. This is where cool text comes in. So I need something that says Gmod or prop hunt. I'll go for prop hunt because prop hunt is usually associated with Gmod. I don't want to take up too much space by typing it all. That's one thing we need to remember. Do not overfill with text, because people don't tend to read text at first, they just tend to see the colours, and that's what attracts them. Now a lot of people use cooltext.com and they make a simple mistake. They'll see all these, they'll click on keen, they'll type in prop hunt, and then they'll use that. They'll copy that over and use it in their thumbnails. Now there's nothing fundamentally wrong with this, but because everyone does it, everyone uses the same default key. You see it on a lot of thumbnails. You want your thumbnail to look different. You don't want it to look like anyone else's, so don't stick with the default. Do something different. I'm going to go for fun, because I like fun. What I'm going to do first is make it bigger. So text size 250 is usually pretty good. It's often too big, but you can minimise it a bit on your actual thumbnail. So that's what we've got there. As for colours, good colours are bright. Things like what I usually use is the default yellow and the default orange. Now that's quite bright. It's near enough to what they had default, but it is a bit brighter. It's a bit more appealing on the eye. I usually increase the shadow. Sometimes I decrease it as well. But this is entirely up to you, this part. Just to make it look nice, but make it your own as well. And one thing that That's great for cool text. You can change the text. So I don't want splurge, it's the default. I want something a bit different. Sometimes I'll go for casual, sometimes I'll go for vanilla. Vanilla's a good one. That's what I used on my last prop hunt thumbnail. So I'm just, should I use it again? Or should I go for something a bit different? I've gone for Vivala, so we'll see how that works. If it doesn't work, we'll change it. But for now, that one looks alright. It's easily readable. Don't go for something along the lines of Proclamate heavy, because on a small thumbnail, no one's going to be able to read that. If you go for something like Katana, for example, which I'm actually quite liking at the moment, I might use that one. That's easy to read. The text is not too squiggly, it's not too much, it's just nice. It's also got this sort of freakiness about it to make it look distinct. That looks pretty good. So I'll do, right click, copy image, bring up paint.net, and always do this when you're adding something new. There's a little button here, add new layer. So we click on that, and then make sure that you've got this little layer 2 thing here. Paste. Right, there we go. We've got prop hunt the title. Now we could on paint.net, if you hover slightly over this little bit here, you get to tilt it. And that usually looks pretty good in these thumbnails as well. It makes you look like you've put the extra effort in, and it makes it look a bit wackier as well, and people like wacky things. Right, so I played this game with Steezus, Yaus and Crumpet King. Now I've already got their images saved, their thumbnails, their avatars saved, so all I'm going to do is just open them, and they come up in these new little sections at the top, as you can see. That's all we need to do with these at the moment. Once you have those three, select, Control C, which copies, bring up this one again, add layer, and paste. Maybe make them a bit bigger. Sometimes you can leave them hanging off the edge of the screen like I've done here. It doesn't make that much of a difference. In fact, sometimes it brings it out a bit more. I don't know how quite it works, but it's okay as long as I get the main bit of it in. That's what she said. So those three you can sort of easily see. One of the ways I test it to see if the thumbnail has the images of the right size, hover over this bit down here, and if you look at what it brings up, this is Windows 8, I'm not sure if it's the same with Windows 7, you can see what your thumbnail looks like at a very small size, and I can see those three, so I imagine you probably will as well. Right, so now what I've got is an image of me. Now this is where you make your thumbnails distinctive. This is where you make it your thumbnail. So on all of my thumbnails I have my own face. That's usually a good way to make your thumbnails distinctive because everyone's face is unique. So I use mine. I've taken a few pictures beforehand, as you've probably seen in my thumbnails, of various different sort of facial expressions to give the audience an idea of what kind of game it is. This one I'm looking a bit sort of whoa, because this episode is bizarre. What I can do now, bring it over here, new layer, always new layer, Control V, keep canvas size, and then because my image is quite large, continually drag it down, make it smaller until it's roughly the right size. Now, as you can see here, it covers most of the prop in Prop Hunt. Make it a bit bigger, put it say there. I can twist it around a bit. Right, it's there now. As you can see, it takes over Prop Hunt, so just come down to this blue arrow again, bring it down once, twice, three, and there we go, it's behind Prop Hunt now. What you might notice is that now, looking at it, Prop Hunt is a bit small. Now when you've made the layer and you've carried on to another layer, you usually have to delete it, so I'll delete that, but I've still got it up here, so copy, come back to it, new layer, in, and increase the size. So now we've pretty much got the finished thumbnail. There's one more thing that I mentioned earlier that I usually do after I put the background image in, that I'm going to show you now. If you look at it now, there's something not quite right with it. It doesn't seem quite right, the background is quite busy, and this could happen even worse if, for instance, you got an even busier background image. It can really take over what's supposed to come above it. So my solution is this. We want another background image, which you use another Google tab for. Say for instance, if I wanted a blue background because it works well against the yellow writing. So if I'm on Google Images and I've typed in blue, search tool, size, larger than that, and you come up with various blue backgrounds. What you don't want is something like this, which is just pure blue without any sort of gradient, because it looks terrible. What you don't want is something that's too dark, like this one. This one's got a gradient, but it's got too dark, and the blue is too bright. What you want is something like this. It's got various shades of blue in it, but they're not too dark, they're not too light. So if you want to copy this over, also you can have sort of patterns sort of like this one has here, but as long as it's not too overpowering. So if we click on background down here and then add new layer, it will add a new layer that will go above that background. Now I've selected a slightly different bluish to the one that I was going to put in, because for some bizarre reason it wouldn't let me copy it. But we've got a blue background now. Remember to keep canvas size. So now we've got this blue background with the gradient. We'll put it there. Now you may think, well, what was the point of putting the background in then? Because now we can't see the background. Well, here's the secret. If you go on layers and you go on layer properties, you get a little box for opacity. So if we bring down the opacity right down, the blue's gone. If we bring it to halfway, it keeps the background there, but it makes it all a very similar colour, and it stops it being so busy. So that's what we've got right now. We can adjust the opacity, and if you want to look at it from a different angle, come down to the paint bit here and then look at your smaller image. It looks better. So I think we can safely call that an image. Nice one. This isn't my best thumbnail I've ever made, I admit, but this is the basics to what I do, and I hope that you've learned from it as well. Remember, several tips: make them distinctive, perhaps with a face. Use big writing that's not too messy, that can be easily read but is also distinctive from cooltext.com. Use big images that you can see even on the small thumbnail. Don't make it too busy. Try my little technique with the background and then the overlaid colour thing with the opacity layer thing. So if we look at that thumbnail at the bottom now, does it fulfill all those things? We've got a distinctive look, which is my face. We've got the title that can be easily read, that can be pretty easily read, I think you'll agree. And then you've got 3 people who did it with me, so not only can they see that they're in it, but other people can see that they're in it too. And that's all you really need. Don't make it too busy, don't put too much in there, keep the writing to an absolute minimum, and you'll be fine. It's been Aheapian Games with a little thumbnail tutorial. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask me down below in the comment section. Ta-ra, toodle pip, toodaloo, cheerio. See you later.